Hi guys, my name is Alexis Hotman. In class we've watched several movies which have influences on society into believing myths about Custer and American Indians in general. Pocahontas is a movie most of us grew up watching and has had an influence on us as children. Today I'd like to compare the Disney version and the real version of Pocahontas, including the reaction of the Powhatan Indians. Additionally, I'd like to talk about how media influences society. Not only does media influence how we think about something or behave in a certain way, children are more susceptible as they often imitate the role models who come from the media. They are unable to distinguish when something is bad, therefore unable to tell right from wrong. In 1995, Disney released a version where daughter of the Powhatan chief, Pocahontas, has been asked for her hand in marriage by a respectable tribe member named Kocoum. She is unsure of her decision as she is trying to figure out her destiny. Meanwhile, Englishmen came to the new land, aggressive, hungry for gold, and prepared for confrontation. Upon first sight of Indians, they act in violence, which creates hostility on both sides. This eventually spawns a battle. John Smith and Pocahontas form a relationship, eventually falling in love. However, John Smith is captured by the Indians after Kocoum gets killed. Pocahontas saves John Smith's life by placing her head upon his when her father raises a war club to execute him. Because of her courageous act, peace is created between the Powhatan Indians and the Englishmen. War is averted, and the two cultures find mutual understanding over land and its resources. In real life, the version of Pocahontas, there is some true facts. Pocahontas is the favorite daughter of the chief of the Powhatan tribe. This favoritism offered her more freedom, and the whites recognized her as having a higher status. Born around 1596 with the name Matoa, she is eventually given the nickname Pocahontas, which means little mischief due to her frolicsome and curious nature. While it's debated to be historically accurate, as a young girl, Pocahontas potentially saved the life of John Smith after he was captured by the Powhatan people. While he might not have been in actually true danger, his freedom was in exchange for the 2 great guns and a grindstone. He was then considered part of the tribe and allowed to leave. Once freed, Pocahontas would accompany the group of tribe members to deliver gifts of food to starving Englishmen. Eventually, relations between the Powhatan Indians and the English began to deteriorate. A severe drought had reduced the harvest of crops. The English demanded more food, and threatened the tribes and were burning down towns to get it. Also, after negotiations went bad between the Powhatan tribe and John Smith, the tribe intended to kill Smith. Pocahontas risked her life once again to return to warn Smith of the news. Unrelated to the increasing hostility and the bad relationship between the two cultures, John Smith suffered a severe gunpowder wound and headed back to England as his only chance for survival. Pocahontas and her tribe were told that he had died on the trip back, which was untrue. Roughly around the age of 14, Pocahontas married Kocoum, but shortly after was kidnapped by the English to use as leverage to rebuild the relationship between the two cultures. Upon learning of the kidnapping and the ransom, her father agrees to English demands immediately. But Pocahontas was relocated to another English settlement in Virginia, where she learned English, Christianity, and other English customs. After being baptized, she changed her name to Rebecca. She met and married John Rolfe, who was responsible for the industrialization of tobacco, and they had a child together named Thomas. Eventually, Pocahontas travels to England, where she gets to see John Smith again. But while traveling back to Virginia, Pocahontas falls ill and dies at the age of 21 of an unknown illness. Over here on the right, the picture actually displays Pocahontas after converting to Christianity. It's actually on display at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. In the documentary Making of Pocahontas, which was released in 1992 before the movie, Roy Disney discusses how this was the first film to be based off of a real-life event and person. However, they chose to base it off of the folklore of Pocahontas. Purposely changing her age and pushing the storyline far from truth, they wanted to at least give it a close representation of the American Indians. Working with Native American activist Russell Means, they tried to make it the best representation of American Indians Hollywood has ever done. So how did the Powhatan Indians feel about the movie? Chief Roy Crazy Horse of the Powhatan tribe said after the movie's release, "It is unfortunate that this sad story, which Euro-Americans should find embarrassing. Disney makes entertainment and perpetuates a dishonest and self-serving myth at the expense of the Powhatan nation." But why so angry? Disney's Pocahontas continues to use language that supports racism against American Indians. Also, the movie feeds into stereotypes which Native Americans have been trying to get away from. Most common knowledge of Indians comes from the media, and the movie continues to portray the Indians as inferior to white people. Here's a sample of a movie that provides my evidence.
What can you expect from filthy little heathens? Here's what you get when races are diverse. This is a hellish red. They're only good when dead. They're vermin, as I said, and worse. They're savages, savages. Barely even human. Savages, savages. Drive them from our shore. They're not like you and me, which means they must be evil. We must hunt them from our war. They're savages, savages. Dirty, greedy devils. Now we shout the drums of war.
Finally, the biggest struggle American Indians have faced is achieving historical accuracy. Society is still heavily influenced with legends and folklore, racism, and negative stereotypes. They really cannot move on when people don't want to learn the truth, and the truth is hard to find. Lastly, I just wanted to give credit to my sources, and thank you for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.